Bank on learning more. Find out how they can help you and your family with their products and services by clicking their banner ad on top of the police blotter page of TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
If you're 40 and over, you'll recognize these artists by their first names. Frank, Dean, Sammy, Andy, Nat, Diana, Michael. Well, here's the big news. You can now hear Central Illinois' largest music library with over 3,500 songs on air and online at 965thechill.com. Tune in on the FM dial in Christian County and on your computer or smartphone. Hear these great artists and many more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 965thechill.com.
WTIM. You're listening to WTIM and our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. My name is Grayson Bauman, and joining me now is Gwen Podesky and Sandy Klein, Master Garden with the U of I Extension. Gwen, great to see you. Sandy, great to see you for the first time.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Glad to have you here. And I'm so glad to see it because 68 degrees today, tomorrow, some 70s in there. I am not mad about it, and that's going to be bringing on a whole lot of change in terms of some gardening weather and some things like that we want to talk about. But I know where we want to start today is with the Gateway Green Conference. This is the first I've heard of it, and if you would kind of take me through it and what maybe you learned even.
Okay, so the Gateway Green Conference takes place every year. It's moved around from January to March to February to back to March, and I have gone to it for well over 20 years. It's a great conference for both professionals in the landscaping and golf course and just those kinds of trades, as well as people like myself who are master gardeners or master naturalists who may want to learn a little bit more and get their education hours in. It's also just open to members of the general public. So one of the topics I selected while I was there was so are the cicadas from last year. If we all remember the incessant singing or the where is the incessant singing I haven't heard experience. And of course, they left our trees with a fair bit of damage. Wherever you heard a lot of singing, you'll probably see a lot of damage on your trees. And so what's going to be the outcome of that? They were really last year encouraging people to net smaller trees and to avoid planting small trees until the fall because of the possibility of the damage. And there was quite a bit of, you would see a lot of the damage and then the flagging, what looked like stray browned out branches. So what does that mean for the long-term health of the tree? Most of the large trees that are healthy can probably take that, but we also had some other odd things that happened last year. One of them, of course, was the extremely dry fall. And so that may have set your trees up for what the presenter called the 1-2 punch. And it was just a matter of, the tree was already under stress because there wasn't enough water, because it really is all about water with trees. And so that may set them up for problems that you will see down the road. So that's something to bear in mind when you're looking at your trees. It's still a good idea to trim off what damage you can see, if you can see that there is damage. But as I said earlier before we came on air, it's winding down. The ideal time to prune trees that you have in your landscape is closing pretty quick, probably as of Wednesday. Wednesday this week will almost be too late because the buds will start to swell. That means the sap, of course, is coming up and down, and things like oak trees are especially prone to disease if that occurs. So get on it if you haven't already in pruning the trees. Make sure that's done. And right. And another one of those stress factors that I might mention that the presenter mentioned was we have had a lot of significant wind in the last couple of years, really. And those winds, they dry the tree out. If the tree is exposed to a lot of wind with a full leaf load, that's going to increase damage to trees. So, the dryness, the wind, and the cicadas. Just sort of pay attention to your trees and see how they're doing.
And maybe don't just blame the little bugs. Maybe blame some of the natural
Right,
occurrences
exactly.
too.
Exactly.
But I do remember that
Yeah,
big push.
Yeah,
for
because
netting
it's
last
and
year.
it was so interesting to me because she mentioned the fact that the cicadas became like what she called them, protein bars for the birds.
Mhm.
And so they turned away from eating a lot of the caterpillars and things. So the caterpillars then had a chance to go, well, can also have a bad effect on the trees.
Yeah.
So there, these things are nothing occurs in a vacuum in nature. And so all of these situations sort of combine. So, according to the expert from Morton Arboretum, the jury is still out and we'll see what happens.
We'll have to wait for this season, maybe a few seasons prior, in the upcoming years as well. I wouldn't even thought about, caterpillars or things of that nature.
I didn't
but-
either. I was just like, wow, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If they had these cicadas for a bit, that gave caterpillars enough of a break.
Town to town or place to place, some had, and then some didn't. And it was, but other places hammered and some just completely.
And it was no, you could not drive through Rochester and not hear them. I don't know about Stonington. We had
Stonington,
almost nothing in
had,
Taylorville.
We had hardly nothing.
Mhm.
It was really weird that Taylorville was scot free, but if you went over to even Lake Shelbyville, you start to hear them. You get over to Charleston way, you would really. It was very strange how they kind of were in certain places.
Well, and the funny thing is what it was explained to me too back when this was occurring was sometimes people don't realize that trees that have been cut down, well, they might have been cut down in the last 17 years. So guess what? They're going to emerge. So anyway, it was an interesting phenomenon.
And a double brood, I think, was the deal
Right,
too.
right.
It was,
Which won't happen again. I don't know. Was it 300 or 400 years? I'm not good with math, so I don't know when 13 and 17 are going to converge again.
and I don't think, luckily for us, I don't think we'll have to worry about it again.
I hope not.
So I think we'll probably be all right in that regard. But so covering, what we have done with the Gateway Green Conference, some pruning of trees and things of that nature. Now we can kind of move in as the season starts to change and that nice weather starts to roll in a little bit with kind of taking care of some seedlings and getting that started. What are you seeing out there in terms of getting those seeds started and maybe some recommendations?
I don't know. I didn't get any seed catalogs this year, which I find to be rather surprising. And I don't know if a lot of these have gone to just strictly online sources. So if you didn't get if you're like me and you didn't get your seed catalogs and you depended on them, I hope you got online and looked, because I think that's might have been where they went to. And then also you are going to start seeing seed packets just everywhere, I think, in the stores. And there are some that you can be starting indoors. A lot of folks started back in February. Some of the cool season crops can go out pretty soon. Very hard.
Lettuce,
Right.
cabbage.
Most of the kale
those
and
are
those
cold
things,
crops,
coal
yeah.
crops. And you can even, very hardy, you can even, if you've got asparagus crowns to plant, you can do some of those. Onion sets are a good thing. Now, I've always heard that potatoes need to go in on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know how true that is, but potatoes. So there are cold season crops. The garden, your vegetable garden can go really, I think, from March or April to October if you know what you're doing and you do a little extra protection. But you also might, and the ones in the house, one thing I was interested to learn in this last year or so is you really need those lights down on the plants to keep them from getting leggy. That helps. If you're starting seeds indoors, kind of see that your light is right above your plants rather than making them stretch for it.
Okay. And I was wondering.
And grow lights are, I think, the way to go. I was amazed this year. My daughter got me some grow lights for Christmas because I asked for them for a couple of plants that I have that always wind up looking like, giraffes by the end of the winter, and they really make a difference.
My grow lights are on my African violets, and my violets bloom all the time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. Yeah, because I have had African violets. Those are one of those things that I had luck with for a while, and then they kind of went kerflooey. But
Is part of that when you go to plant them, and if they're quite tall, they might not have as strong of a stalk or things of that nature, more susceptible to some wind
and they
damage
damp
or-
off. There's damping off, which happens if you plant too early and they have to be inside too long and things. So there's a lot of problems that kind of predisposes your plants to.
So keep the grow lights down. You should have already pruned your trees, but if you still need to, do so now, and maybe start thinking about getting some seeds and getting your season ready. We'll take our break here, and then we'll come back around. We'll talk a little bit more about getting the garden ready for this upcoming change of seasons, and I'm excited to actually get to that change of seasons.
I'm excited for it.
So I am joined right now by Gwen Podesky and Sandy Klein, Master Gardeners with the U of I Extension. We'll be right back around with more of the WTIM Morning Show.
WTIM. Here's Cousin Bill from Illinois Paving.
Attention farmers. Tired of potholes? Tired of dust and maintaining your driveway and lot? Sick of hauling in rock and grading continuously? Illinois Paving has multiple layered solutions that works. This system works for grain elevators, inside sheds, farm lanes, and all kinds of driveways in the country. It can hold up to your heavy weight. If you want to fix it right and be done, call the pros at Illinois Paving. 788-7777.
The big Sandy's rising, sound the alarm.
On the heels of deadly floods, eastern Kentucky and West Virginia are left devastated. Lives have been lost, homes and businesses swept away, and families are struggling to survive. But in the face of unimaginable loss, there's a way to help. Pike County Flood Relief is there, providing hope where it's needed most. Your tax-deductible donation can help deliver food, shelter, and the support needed to rebuild lives. These families have lost everything, but with your help, they can heal. Go to PikeCountyFloodRelief.org right now to make your donation. Every dollar helps. Every act of kindness counts. Together, we can heal the heart of these communities. Pike County Flood Relief. In their darkest hour, your light can make all the difference.
God deliver us.
The Christian County Economic Development Corporation is a not-for-profit organization whose mission is to promote the creation and retention of jobs and to increase the economic tax base through the development, establishment, and expansion of commerce and industry in the Christian County area. I'm Matt Hart, CCEDC's new Executive Director. I'm here to work with existing county employers as well as develop relationships towards creating new jobs in our county. Feel free to reach out to me, Matt Hart, by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Food establishments in Christian County, listen up. There's a new food code to follow this year, and it's important to know the changes. The Christian County Health Department is holding their free third annual food workshop at the U of I Christian County Extension Office, 1120 North Webster in Taylorville on Wednesday, April 9th. Choose one of two identical sessions, 9 a.m. to noon or 1 to 4 p.m. Representatives from the County Health Department, Illinois Department of Public Health, and other health departments will share ways to pass future inspections and more. RSVP ASAP by calling CCHD to attend this important food workshop Wednesday, April 9th.
CTI is the only internet company that offers a price lock for life on gig-by-gig residential fiber internet at $69.95 per month. You can't control most costs, but you can control the price of your internet. Sign up by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Cousin Bill here from Illinois Paving. Hey, Christian County and surrounding area. Let us do your paving job, whether large or small this year. Find out how we can do your paving project by clicking on the icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station. WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, here with the morning show today. It's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm Grayson Bauman. Joining me is Sandy Klein and Gwen Podesky, Master Gardeners with the U of I Extension. We've been talking pruning of trees, the Gateway Green Conference, and a little bit about gardening. I'd like to talk a little bit more about gardening, if you don't mind entertaining me with that. We talk cold crops like lettuce, cabbage, and maybe even potatoes. But now that we're getting into the warmer months and getting those seedlings ready or whatever the case might be, is there a recommended window for things like tomatoes, for things like zucchini or anything like that?
Those warm season crops, you could probably, I would say, if you're going to start them from seed indoors, this
Mhm.
would be a fine time to do
To
it.
start those.
To
yeah.
start those, be sure that you've got some sort of warmth underneath them. And then again, the grow lights. And if you're going to start them from transplants or plugs that you buy in the store, though, those are really warm season crops. They can't take, and I've always heard that no matter what you do with them, those walls of water, whatever, that you are much better off to just plant them after last frost,
Yeah,
pretty much,
last
which is somewhere for us around Mother's Day.
Somewhere around Mother's Day.
Is
Okay.
when you would plant them out in the garden. And people say that even the ones that are planted in April and protected, the others catch up and sometimes pass them up. So
Probably depends a little bit on the season, of course, and what weather
Exactly.
you're getting,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
But just kind of
Yeah.
thinking out loud about, all right, well, if we get the cold crops and they're probably ready
Yeah.
to go, then
Yeah.
when might those summer
you
ones
know,
be
and
ready?
it would be probably a good time with your vegetable garden. I hope you've gotten rid of your the debris from last year. Most annuals like that really function better if you don't leave that debris, because that's where a lot of pests and a lot of diseases especially hide. So those are good things to kind of take care of.
Making sure the garden is
Mhm.
actually
Yeah.
ready and
Yeah.
you've removed the old vines or whatever the
Yeah.
case might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, in your flower beds, a lot of times it's good. Now, if you've got spring bloomers, like I've got aconites blooming now, and I've got a few snowdrops that I planted last year from our sale.
Mhm.
And anyway, if kind of get your leaves off of those so you can enjoy them and not rake through them later. But a lot of it, if you can leave what you can for the pollinators and things, the debris in the beds a little bit is fine.
Go ahead and do so.
Mhm.
When it comes to gardening, is there anything else that we want to talk about here today before we?
We ought to mention our plant sale.
Yes, we do
Coming
need
up.
to mention that we still plan our plant sale Saturday, May 3rd. And we are going to be having a variety of perennials and whatever we can sort of scavenge together.
Mhm.
And then we've also got, of course, in May, we'll start the help desk, which is Thursday mornings from 9 to 11 at the office. They can come in or they can call.
And the farmers market will start in May also.
Mhm. And we're there 2 times a month.
Mhm.
Mike usually has the orange tent 2 times a month. Now, our understanding is we're trying to we've been having this dilemma about ordering a new tent, and we think we have to now have a navy blue one, which we think is boring, but it's what we can get.
Yeah,
So
because you could really see the orange.
yeah,
one.
the orange one was like, oh, there they are.
Yeah. And then
So, and that's always fun. We like to visit with people and get things going there. So
so you'll go out and about to just any farmer's market that you can basically
No,
get your hands
we
on?
just go to Taylorville.
Just
We just do
Taylorville.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And
you'll-
there's always a gardening problem. Somebody's got a gardening problem.
And sometimes we find out there are solutions and
Uh-huh.
things. So it's really helpful.
and there are a variety of problems. I'm sure that you probably
Yeah.
field with that. So starting Saturday, May 3rd will be the plant sale. Help
Right.
desk in May every Thursday morning from 9 to 11.
Mhm.
Mhm.
From 9 to
Mhm.
11. And then the farmer's market also in May.
Couple
and
of
that-
times. Yeah, I think our first farmers market is
May 10th.
May 10th. Okay. So that is a look at what your guys' upcoming schedule is. And anything else upcoming schedule like summer training or anything else like that you want to highlight?
Summer online training registration opens April 1st
April 1st.
and closes May 19th. So there's time to apply for that. And that training will actually run June 9th through August 30th. And what that usually means is the manuals ship out in late May, and then they give you the password or the online thing goes live.
Little ID type of deal. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a look at what's going on
On
with the U of I extension. And the last thing that I know we wanted to talk about today for sure was crabgrass preventer. Take me through it in this last minute.
Okay. Well, the best rule of thumb is when that forsythia is blooming is the time to get your crabgrass preventer down. If you
Okay.
don't get it down at that point, it's pretty much not going to be effective, because that's the forsythia blooms when the soil is at a certain temperature, I think, and that is all tied in together.
So crabgrass
So
preventer.
get your and if you do that, remember it's also going to affect your lawn seed. So if you're seeding your lawn, you may have to avoid the crabgrass preventer. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
If you're wanting grass you want to grow,
Yes,
maybe
if you
don't
want the grass
kill
you
it.
want, because it doesn't know. It says say that seed's crabgrass, I'll kill
Yeah.
it, and that one's not. It
Yeah.
unfortunately doesn't work that way.
Well, I have been joined today by Gwen Podesky and Sandy Klein, Master Gardeners with the U of I Extension, to talk all things gardening and soil testing. We'll talk about another time. Unfortunately, we didn't get to that, but we'll be sure to do so next month when they come back around. You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show here on your information station.
WTIM.
This is Grayson Bauman reporting. National elections have wrapped up, and so have state elections.
Talks scheduled for tomorrow. These discussions to involve high-level American and Ukrainian officials being hosted by the Saudis in Saudi Arabia. President Trump talking about lifting the ban on intelligence sharing with